Smiley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, December 7th. Okay, so we have another major day on our hands here today. Let's start with the fact that the moon still in this Aquarius energy, but void, of course, since 7:03 p.m. last evening. We're still in this Aquarius energy until 4:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, at which point we are moving into Pisces energy, the last sign of the zodiac. So typically speaking, from Aquarius energy, all up in the headspace, acting as the observer, emotionally detached from our situations and circumstances so that we can think outside of the box, come up with some good ideas on where some improvements need to be made. The Pisces energy brings back all of the feels. We have to move inward. We're tapping into our spidey senses. We become hypersensitive to our thoughts, to our emotions, to the energies that are swirling around us. And even more than that, the Pisces energy is where we have to wrap things up. We're preparing to move into a new cycle when the moon moves into Aries energy. But of course, in order for things to begin, something has to end. And because this Pisces energy is very dreamy, very intuitive, very much kind of bringing our higher self into alignment, it's going to be a very interesting dynamic because, of course, with all of the other things going on here today, which I'm about to rattle off here in a second, we're definitely going to see where there is an ending of a chapter needed, an ending, a closure needed or provided to thoughts, to ideas, to emotions, to karmic chapters, to dreams, to visions, to goals. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind that we are definitely going to be feeling a lot more than what it is that we had been feeling over the last couple of days, and where it is that this is time for rest, a time to wind down. Again, a time to wrap things up in preparation for new things beginning. So what are all the other things going on here today, you may ask? Well, again, if you've listened to your December energy overview, you would already know that we're in a pretty intense weekend of energies. If you've listened to the Mars retrograding in Leo astro forecast, that, of course, Mars went retrograde here on Friday, December 6th, you would know that that was the beginning domino of what is going to be a back-to-back energy shift here this weekend. Today, we have Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, moving out of that 29 critical crisis karmic degree of Capricorn energy that, again, side note, Pluto was sitting in since September up until November 19th. Venus is going to be moving into Aquarius energy, and interestingly enough, Venus actually makes that transition while the moon is still in Aquarius energy, still void of course. We have Venus moving into that Aquarius energy at 1:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then the moon shifts into Pisces. That's a very interesting dynamic. We'll talk about that as we get going here. The other thing that we got going on is that Ceres, the asteroid, which again, I don't really talk about. I don't usually cover the asteroid activity. But it's important when we have asteroids joining forces with planets moving together into a different sign. Ceres is also moving into Aquarius energy. And what Venus and Ceres are going to do moving into this Aquarius energy is immediately bump into Pluto, sitting at that 0 degree in Aquarius energy. So as if that wasn't enough, we also have Neptune coming out of the retrograde that we've been in for like 4.5, 5 months. Neptune is going direct. We get to put the rose-colored glasses on. We get to face a lot of the things that, again, we've been trying to kind of, I'm going to say paint in a better light. We get to align with our higher selves, with our intuition once again. We get to really start formulating our dreams, our goals, our visions once again. It is going to be a powerful shift. And may I also remind you that Neptune is at the latter degrees of this Pisces energy that he rules over. And this is the ending of a chapter because moving in early 2025, Neptune is actually going to be moving into Aries energy. That is a brand new start, brand new clean slate. And of course, we have to wrap things up before we can jump into something new. So that is the day, okay? if you have your December energy guide that is specifically written for your zodiac sign, please bust that out. Please give yourself a moment to really get in touch with your thoughts, with your ideas, with your emotions, with the situations, the circumstances that are demanding your time, your energy, your attention right now. Because again, we need to capture what is going on because we're going to have to come back to this particular time period, reference what's going on at this particular point in time when we kind of break into 2025. So there's a method to the madness. There's a reason why we have to do the work. It is definitely going to help support us in a lot of the revisions that are going to be made once we jump into that new year. So with all of that being said, there are 10 different aspects popping off here today. 6 of them are going to be involving the moon. So the moon, still in this Aquarius energy, but void of course, the moon is going to be making a positive interaction with the sun in Sagittarius energy. So anytime that the sun and the moon are coming together, there's going to be an aha moment. There's going to be an epiphany, an emotional awareness of what we need to do, what we want to pursue, what we have to close the door upon in order to start fresh. And because the Aquarius energy is very futuristically focused, and because the Sag energy is very futuristically focused, this is likely going to give us a download of a goal, of a vision, of a dream that, again, we are triggering, activating an emotion to back because, of course, those are the first 2 steps of manifesting. So there's going to be an aha moment somewheres. Now, 1:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, she's shifting into that Aquarius energy. Please, please, please get out your guide. Capture what is going on for you. You're going to need to remember what is changing in your heart space, where it is that values, priorities are changing, where it is that you're now craving a little bit more independence, a little bit more freedom, where it is that you're being attracted, called to weird ideas, to weird people, where it is that, again, there is just this out of the box mood and attitude really pushing you to get out of your comfort zone, okay? So 4:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon is going to be shifting into Pisces energy. Just about 20 minutes later, the moon in Pisces is then going to make a positive interaction with Venus, now in this Aquarius energy. So Venus is pushing our awareness, our consciousness on what it is that we need to do to feel safe and secure and stable for the long term, whether that is in our day-to-day lives, with our day-to-day routines, or with our relationship dynamics, or with our resources or our money matters, doesn't matter. We're looking to make some major improvements. So this is a positive interaction, definitely going to bring up the feels because that's what the moon in Pisces does in order to illuminate what we can no longer do, what we can no longer pour into, where it is that we've outgrown certain situations and circumstances. And of course, the Aquarius energy acting as the observer that Venus is currently in, we're able to again see the greater, grander picture, where it is we're coming from, where it is that we're at, where it is that we want to go, the distance between where it is that we're at and where it is that we desire to be, and the control that we have over situations and circumstances in the present moment that we could change, that we could adjust, that we can improve to help us in that long term. 5:29 a.m., the moon in Pisces energy going to make a positive interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who of course is in this Aquarius energy. This is going to be some boss up mood, attitude type of energy. We are feeling empowered. We are feeling like we have what it takes in order to do what needs to be done in order to wrap up the cycles that, again, we have outgrown, that we no longer want to kind of have a part in or experience or dabble in at all. This is going to be an intense type of energy in our emotions, pulling us towards something new that, of course, helps us to reframe what it is that we have to create time, energy, and distance away from. 9:04 a.m., again, Eastern Standard Time, Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, now in this Aquarius energy, of course, going to come up, bump into, team up with, conjunct Pluto, already in this Aquarius energy. So First of all, this is going to put us in a situation where we really have to get focused on what we want, what we need, what we desire. Pluto turns up the intensity. The Aquarius energy, of course, is pushing for change, pushing for transformation, for innovation, for progress in a new path, in a new direction. So this particular energy is definitely going to kind of put us in a situation where I'm not going to say we fully withdraw from our physical realms, but we have to move inward in order to kind of, reevaluate some things. We are in a retrograde, right? Mercury's retrograde, Mars is now retrograde. So we become a little bit more protective of our feelings, of our affections. There is a lot of feelings to work through. There's a lot of intensity here. And until we can figure it out within ourselves, we're not really willing to, bounce that off of a whole lot of people. We're becoming a little bit more, let's call it private, with our inner realm, with what it is that we truly want, need, and desire. And again, there is this element where part of us wants stronger connections, deeper levels of commitment and intimacy from the people that, again, we deem of worth and value. But at the same time, the Aquarius energy wants independence, wants freedom, wants the space for us to explore what it is that we actually want. So we are looking to grow. We are looking to change. We are looking to improve, especially our relationships and our financial situations. But at the same time, we don't know how to really do that at the moment. So we're kind of, putting up a mask, if you will. There is going to be a tendency where we kind of want to exercise the power and control that we may have over situations, circumstances, or other people. And because we're like super hyper focused, borderline obsessed with this particular outcome, we're starting to kind of plant the seeds or, talk about situations or circumstances in a way that would help other people kind of realize what it is that we're pushing for. And so it just feels like we are kind of pulling the strings behind the curtain, so to speak. At the same time, we are also wanting to step back and kind of allow people to act the way that they're going to act naturally in order for us to see what it is that they would prefer to do and where it is that we actually stand in their lives. So there's going to be many layers to this particular interaction that's going to last for at least a couple of days this weekend for sure. But the whole point of this is, again, in this Aquarius energy, thinking about the future that we want to end up living in, and then kind of working our way back to where it is that we're currently at and seeing what it is that we have the ability to change in the here and now to align ourselves with what could be. The moon in Pisces then going to make a positive interaction with the North Node in Aries energy. Again, that North Node trying to get us on the right path to our soul's mission, our soul's purpose, our soul's potential. At the same time, yes, there's this dreaminess of the moon in Pisces. There's this imagination, this fantasy level that kicks in. Our creativity is just popping off and we're receiving all kinds of intuitive insight on what it is that we want to do, what it is that we want to pursue. Now, this is an inner realm thing. This is not us making moves out in the physical realm. This is us kind of spending the time to get detailed in the goal, the vision, the dream that we feel excitement to actually want to pursue. The moon in Pisces then going to semi-square Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy, mostly because we get filled with this excitement, with this peace, with this contentment, thinking about the vision, the goal, the dream that we want to be living in. And then what happens? We go to the dark side. We start realizing, oh my goodness, I would have to do this, this, and this, and this. I would have to cut this person out. I would have to make this change. And suddenly we don't feel confident in our own ability to make those changes. So Chiron, when he's being aspected in a negative way, we're going to be focusing in on the wounds of the past, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities. We're trying to talk ourselves out of a good thing that we just realized that we very much want. 3:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Neptune stationing direct. please go ahead, listen to that astro forecast, do all of the things in your December energy guide. Again, really kind of capturing where it is that your mood, your attitude, your thoughts, your ideas, your emotions, situations, and circumstances are changing right before your eyes. This is the last oomph, if you will, that Neptune is going to have in this Pisces energy, again, before moving into Aries energy early 2025. Just a couple of minutes later, we have the moon in Pisces energy, making a very harsh interaction with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, desires, even our anger, who is now retrograde in Leo energy. And this is officially the first aspect that Mars is involved in since going retrograde. So if you haven't listened to that astro forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so. We're in it for the long haul. This particular energy is carrying us into the new year. So it would be very beneficial if you understood A, what the effects of this energy are for the collective and for you individually, and then B, the areas of your life that this particular retrograde is going to be impacting, and then C, how it is that you can actually work with the energy. And again, you can find all of that information, all of those answers, all of those resources through the astro forecast, through that December energy guide. And if you really want some guidance, jump over to my Patreon. If you're not there already, we walk through it each and every single day. We put it into perspective. We know how to work with it. We know what to expect. Again, it's better to roll than be dragged. The moon interacting with Mars in this way, going to bring out some frustration, going to bring out some anger, going to bring out some restlessness, and it's going to be something that we're not going to be able to express outwardly because, of course, Mars is retrograde, so is Mercury, so all of this energy is internalized. And because, again, this is a negative aspect, which is going to be teaching us where it is that we kind of get out of our own headspace and get out of our own way. The moon in Pisces creating a lot of confusion, a lot of coming up with justifications, reasons why we shouldn't want to move on, shouldn't want to build, shouldn't want to grow, shouldn't want to evolve, because that's the easiest path, is to just, sit in and settle for where it is that you're currently at. We just have this overwhelming intensity coming up. We're not feeling brave. We're not feeling bold or courageous. We're actually feeling more timid, more victimhood mentality now than ever. We're a little bit whiny. We're a little bit wah about it. Again, this is an opportunity to examine your inner realm, to examine your motivations, examine your excitement, examine how it is that you use your energy for good instead of for evil. And it's a time to wrap things up, kind of analyzing and then squashing where it is that, again, this ego programming has you constantly at war with your own damn self. The last thing that we have going on here today is the sun sitting in Sagittarius energy, directly opposing, sitting across from Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings, who of course is retrograde in Gemini energy. Now, Gemini energy and Sag energy, they sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. Jupiter naturally rules over that Sag energy, so he's uncomfortable here in the Gemini energy. What this particular energy is going to do is it's going to highlight for us where it is that there's too much, okay? There's too much going on. There's too much of something. This is going to highlight excess, okay? Excess of too much, maybe too much spending, too much thinking, too much reacting, maybe too much drama, too much conflict. There's going to be an emphasis on where there is just too much stuff going on. Now, here's the thing, because Sag energy and Gemini energy sit across from each other, because the Gemini energy is very divided, there's going to be a division in our headspace and our heart space on what it is that we want to do versus what it is that we think we should do. The minute that you say, oh, I think I should do this or that word should be an indicator where it is that you're allowing external forces to dictate your life. Should is a term that we use to feel peer pressure. so-and-so thinks I should do this, or maybe society thinks I should do that. Should is an action that we do according to what other people may think. Okay, what we want to do is honoring our own heart space. And this is where we're currently being torn. And so there are two very specific areas of your life. And again, reference your chart. This is why I make the guide, so that you have an idea on where it is that certain areas of your life are being focused on at this particular point. But there are two very extreme areas of your life. One is the Sag area, the other is the Gemini energy. And we have to figure out how to balance those two areas of life. Those two spotlights, again, sun shining a bright light, Jupiter pushing for growth and evolvement. We need to be very focused on the sector of our life that these energies are illuminating, to realize where it is that we're being pushed into the spotlight, where we need to shine, we need to boss up, where we need to grow, where we need to do better, where we need to be better, where we need to improve. And so it is definitely going to be in direct conflict with each other, because this is what an opposition does. However, there's going to be an aha moment, a realization, or in a wild card energy where an unexpected change in our mindset, in our emotions, in plans, in a project, in a path, or towards a goal, something's going to change. And that is going to put us in a position where initially we're going to have panic, or we're going to feel like, we're being pushed into a detour that we don't necessarily want to take. However, what it is actually doing is accelerating the path that we are on to actually ending up at the point where we get to start kind of reaping the rewards from some of the tough love life lessons that we've been going through. So the urge to grow, to evolve, to boss up, to move on is very strong. Can we actually make those moves as of right now? No, we cannot. Mars, who rules over action, is retrograde. We have some analyzing to be done, not moves to be made. And so this is a time for us to adjust our expectations. And if you can, get rid of expectations altogether, because the minute that you have an expectation, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. And so just realize that anything that is happening now, we will get a chance to revisit, to revise, a second shot at kind of doing it right once Mercury and Mars come out of their retrogrades.